Welcome to another episode of Webinar Wednesday. Today we're going to be talking about Shopify and how you can set up a Shopify store from scratch. If you're a beginner, if you have no idea where to start from for your Shopify store, stick around until the end. We have Nechole Whitlock, who's got an amazing presentation to talk about Shopify. Margaret and Kevin, how are you guys doing today?
We're well. I'm well. I think Kev's well.
Yeah, they're pretty well. We're in lockdown in sort of Geelong, in Melbourne, so we've got another week to go, but we had a surprising sort of outbreak, so we're lying low this week.
Right, and it's been extended for a week, right?
It has in Melbourne, yeah. Like it's half lifted for us in Geelong, but now Melbourne, they're not policing them. People can sneak down here, so we won't be going too far because you don't know who you're mixing with. Then it's a bit. They might as well left it locked down, really, for us as well. I think.
Right.
Because it's like low capacity in restaurants. It's only 50 people or something, so it's not really worth changing.
Right.
Kev can't play golf.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, before we bring Nicole on, there are a couple of things that we wanted to talk about. First of all, thank you everybody who has contributed to our campaign for Dipalia. So we've already raised almost $10,000, which is pretty amazing. We were at around 7,000 when we did the charity Singathon. And since that time, I think in the last week or so, we've gotten about $3,000 more, which is pretty impressive, and people are still donating. So in case anyone's interested in donating, this is the URL, and we're basically raising money for a lot of the underprivileged families in India who are struggling because of COVID. They don't have a source of income because of lockdowns and curfews and all. So we're raising funds for those, and it takes only $20 to provide a food kit to a small family to sustain them for a month. So please do consider donating. It really helps a lot.
Yeah.
And Marg, we have a couple of other things that you wanted to talk about. So
yeah, look, just quickly for people who haven't noticed, your FBA fees may have increased or decreased as of the 1st of June. If you're not sure how to check that, you can just go into Manage Inventory page and you'll see a column there that's got your fees. And if you can't remember what it was before, if you go into the sales, so if you go down into payment information and view your transactions, you'll see that you're either maybe getting an extra 50 cents or you may be paying an extra 50 cents per product. Look, I've spoken to some people, it's up to $1. Some people it's a couple of cents change. Some it's gone down 50 cents. So it just depends where your product sat before because they've changed. It's quite confusing. It's all done on the actual shipping weight now, not the weight of the product, but the shipping weight. So it's really hard to work out what it's going to be without checking. But look, you should look because between that and your shipping fees and things going up, you might find that, you might need to maybe, if you can afford it, sneak your price up $1 or something. So we'll cover this. We'll do a bit more speaking on this a bit later on. I'll go over the cost with people, but just have a look and see where you stand today. So that's, do you want to talk? Yep.
Yeah, and Prime Day.
Yeah, well, Prime Day, we haven't been told as sellers. I can't find it anywhere on Amazon officially, but it's in all the press that Prime Day is going to be straight after Father's Day, so the 21st, 22nd of June. So that'll be interesting because normally people don't buy very much waiting for Prime Day, but Father's Day is going to throw it in the mix. So it might be helpful to us in some ways because people will still be buying hopefully the week before because of Father's Day. So that's a bit of a bonus from Amazon, I think, because normally it's very, very quiet the week before Prime Day. So let's hope we all have a good week and then a good bit of a Prime Day.
Right. And is there anything special that you do to prepare for Prime Day?
I don't do anything because I just watch my PPC budget because you spend a fortune. If you go increasing your PPC too much, it'll just run out. There's so many people just looking and looking and looking that it is, it doesn't make my sales go up just because there's more traffic, but I don't run campaigns and things because Amazon have made it quite expensive. You pay it just to do an actual Prime Day deal that they offer. It's, a few $100s. So you've got to make a lot of sales and have a lot of stock in. Plus at the moment now, most of us can't put a lot of stock in. So, it's a bit of a dangerous situation as well. So yeah, look, I personally don't, but look, some people I know are very successful and run, big deals. But you've got to sell a volume to do that, because if you're discounting, $10 or $20 off your product, I can't see how you're making that much money. So, to give a discount and pay for a deal, it can be, not viable unless you want to move some stock.
Right. Well, best of luck to everyone for Prime Day.
Yeah.
Let's see who's with us over here. Trish is from sunny Arley Beach, Queensland. Hi, Trish.
Yeah.
Bill, Mary Kershaw. Okay, awesome. So I'm going to invite our guest now, Nicole, to the stream. Hi, Nicole. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. How are you doing?
We're doing great.
Hello, Nicole.
Yeah.
Hi, Nicole.
Hi.
All right. We are so excited about your presentation today. Shopify, there's been so much discussion, in our group as well. People have been talking about, I think Google has recently announced that they are going to integrate with Shopify or support Shopify. The details are not out yet, but I think, that's going to hopefully give a big boost to all of the Shopify stores out there, right?
Absolutely. There's already some integration that already exists between Shopify and Google. They actually started that, I want to say like last June or July, and it's just continued on from there. So yeah, I think it's going to be amazing. They're expanding that. Google's also doing some other stuff with some other platforms too. So everybody's getting into the mix. They want to compete with Amazon.
Awesome. Okay, so let's get started. I'm going to share your screen, and everybody watching, if you have any questions, please type them in the comments, whether you're watching from YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, and we will take questions after Nicole finishes her presentation. All right, Nicole, over to you. Just gonna move you up here.
All right, so thank you very much. I'm so glad to be here. I apologize if for some reason I have any type of background noise. I do have a special needs son, so we will talk about that in just a second. And so my name is Nechole Whitlock, and we're going to be covering how to launch a Shopify store for beginners and about me. So I feel like I have some feedback. Can you hear feedback right now?
Mark, Kevin, can you mute yourself?
Yeah, we'll mute. Yeah, we'll mute.
Okay. All right. So in any case, so about me, my name is Nechole Whitlock. Yes, it is spelled funny. That was my mom's doing. And I've been selling online since 2014. I originally started selling on eBay out of necessity for trying to raise money for my kids. I have 2 special needs kiddos, and so I needed to raise money for their therapies and for their special diets and their alternative therapies as well. And before that, I've been selling offline. I used to own a candy vending machine business. I had over 250 machines, but then the market took a downturn. A lot of small businesses went out of business. And so my candy vending machines were located in a lot of small mom and pop places, and I lost probably close to 50 machines. So it was kind of crazy. I am a serial entrepreneur. And as I mentioned before, I have 2 special needs kids. I'm also the vice president of a nonprofit that supports individuals with special needs. And I'm the creator and co-founder of Ecom Sellers LLC. So we host our e-commerce summits. We have 2 summits a year. One is in February of each year, and one is in August. And the August summit is coming up pretty quick. We also support sellers through our Ecom Sellers Academy. We have weekly trainings, and then we also have Ecom Sellers Mastery, where we take a deep dive into a specific topic. This quarter, it's a 12-week intensive, and we're taking a deep dive into creating bundles. So that course is actually happening right now. And then we also do Ecom Sellers Podcast, where we share news, tips, and updates. So that's a little bit about me and who we are. These are my beautiful sons that I love so very, very much. So what is Shopify? I'm sure everybody here probably knows what Shopify is, but it is another storefront. There's a lot of different storefronts out there. People have heard about WooCommerce. Some people even create their own WordPress storefronts, but WooCommerce, BigCommerce, Shopify. Shopify is one of the more well-known ones. And so you can create your own store to sell your own products. And I am so excited. If you've been following me on Facebook, I've been sharing a little bit about my son who has Asperger's, but he is creating his own Shopify store. And I'm extremely excited for him about this journey that he's on. But with a Shopify store, like you can sell any specific niche things, or you can have, some would define as a general store or a basic store. It's not really a general store. It's probably going to be something where you have some specific products that you want to target an audience. And the great thing about Shopify is, you could use your Shopify store to target people on your products in your Shopify store to target people on Facebook. So I know we've all seen some of these Facebook ads where there's Facebook videos, and then when you click on the link, it's probably taking you to a Shopify checkout store. Again, you can have a general store, and you can have multiple Shopify stores. People don't know that. You can set your account up so that you have, if you decide that you're going to have multiple folder tabs, you can have specific products on each individual folder tab and have one Shopify account, or you can have true separate Shopify accounts that are specific niches. And so I've done both. We've got a couple of different stores already live. So why should you sell on Shopify? Again, if you have a private label product, if you have a white label product, if you have a niche that you know really, really well, you know that audience, you targeted that audience, or maybe there's a product that you're inventing, you're wanting to bring to the market, that is an opportunity to create a storefront for it. And Shopify is one of the easiest storefront to set up. So, different things that you can put on Shopify. You can do handmade stuff. You can do wholesale, drop shipping. Those are pretty common. You can also do print on demand. That's another one that people will sell on Shopify. So some general things about it. Like I said, it's easy to set up. Shopify is going to host your website, so you don't have to pay anything extra for hosting. Now, I do recommend you get your own domain, that you don't buy a domain through Shopify, that you buy your own domain so that you can take that domain with you if you decide to shut down your Shopify store. So you have a dashboard that will help you with all of your managing your account, creating your listings, and managing everything about your store and your store setup. You do have themes that are on your store, the look and feel of your store. So what people will see when they come to it, what are the navigations that they see up at the top, or maybe the navigations at the bottom or on the sides, the information that you display at the bottom, all of that can be part of a theme. And so there are free ones where you don't have to pay. And then there are paid ones that, are a little nicer. And then you can just edit what you want to edit for that. You have an infinite number of products that you can sell on Shopify. So again, most people, a lot of people that I see when they create a Shopify store, they're not trying to create a Walmart. They're creating a Shopify store for specific things. So maybe you're catering to people who have pets. And so you may have a pet store and a bunch of different products that are pet store related. You may niche down, and maybe your store is focused on big dogs or small dogs or fish or whatever it happens to be, gerbils. So setting up a Shopify store is a great way to get more eyeballs on those products, and it's easy to set up. So you can get some stats with your store, help you break down your numbers. And there are free and paid apps. So the apps are additional features and functionality on your store that you want to offer. Some of the things that you want to offer come delivered with Shopify, and then you will find there are a bunch of apps that you might use. Like you can use apps to load products onto your store. You can use apps to offer deals. You can use apps to have some of the flash features that show up on the store, like, oh, okay, we're having a clearance and it's flashing in red and yellow or something like that. So you can use apps to showcase different things about your store. Shopify does offer 24/7 support, and they're very much integrated with social media, so Pinterest and Facebook specifically. And you can do your transactions online or in person. So with the pandemic, a lot of people that had brick and mortars, they started setting up their Shopify stores so that way they can continue to sell their products online And then when the stores opened up, they could continue those transactions using the front end of their Shopify store, and people could buy in person. So a lot of people don't know that. There's some integration, I believe, with Square. I haven't done that. And I do want to say the majority of this training is from a U.S. perspective. So I didn't set up a lot of it from the international perspective, but there's a lot of international functionality within Shopify. So it works. I know that it works in Australia. I know it works in the UK. Like there are people that have Shopify stores all over the place. They have a very helpful community. I'm sure some of you, if you've looked into getting a Shopify store, you will find that their online community is helpful as well. So before you set up your Shopify store, there's some things you need to decide. And one of the first things is, what's your business model going to be? What type of business model you're going to have? Who's your audience? And of course, you need to know what are the key search words and the key terms and long tail keywords that people are using when they're trying to find that audience, or that audience is trying to find your product. You're going to have to do some product research, of course, because that's necessary once you figure out what business model you're going to have for your store, and then what products you're going to sell. So you have to do some product research, or you find your niche first and then you do the product research. We recommend branding for your store, especially if you're going to niche down. If you're not going to have a general store, you definitely should have some branding, and you're going to have to go through store setup, some marketing, and then analysis. So let's go with your store model. So some people, they will niche down their store, or they will have a general store. I mentioned that before. So niching down would be a store that's about fly fishing, like everything that's fly fishing related, or barbecue, barbecue gadgets. This is the time of the year here. I'm in Texas, so this is the time of year that people are definitely barbecuing. Or you can have a general store that's not really truly general, but it has a variety of different products. So like a pet store, or maybe just the trendy products that people are seeing online, especially TikTok these days. You could have a specific store that hosts all the products that you see on TikTok, supplement store. So it's very general in the sense that everything in the store is supplements, but they're not just one specific type of supplement. You could have a print on demand store or a drop shipping store. So print on demand, some people will do print on demand for shirts, ties, car seat covers, coffee mugs, workout clothes, jackets, purses, bags, phone covers, like print on demand. All of that is print on demand. Or you can do drop shipping. And some people do a combination of both. So if you're drop shipping, you're going to set up an account and go through the process of making sure that you vetted out who your supplier is and or your vendor, so that way they can fulfill the orders once the orders come through your Shopify store. And then there are the one product stores versus the combination stores. So there's a lot of one product stores that are out there where they only sell one thing, and then there are stores that sell a combination of print on demand plus drop shipping. I've seen a lot of those. We've set up a print on demand. We've also set up a drop shipping. And so that's not uncommon for people to have both. So your niche is so important because that's how you're going to be able to target your audience. You can get some traffic organically based on the search words that people might be looking for on a specific product. But with the Shopify store, you're definitely going to have to drive some traffic over time. So if you've done a great job of maybe building some relationships with influencers, and those influencers have already got your audience, in other words, whatever your niche is, and let's say it's lip balm. So maybe there's a couple of influencers you've been following. And so you want to go after lip balm because you've done the research to say, is there an audience for this particular product? Yep. So if there's Facebook groups where they talk about lip balm, or people are talking about makeup or skincare, then there's an audience there. Are they talking about it on any Instagram pages, or is there a person that has a bunch of followers that are talking about lip balm? Yep. So there, you have an audience there. So you're validating that there's an audience for this thing. Then there might be Pinterest pages. So then you're like, okay, there's clearly an audience, and let's go see what the numbers are that people are spending for these particular products. Okay, now I've validated that this is probably a good niche, a product that I could potentially sell. So you want to, again, do some research on that specific niche. I'm going to go out there. I'm going to see what are lip balms selling for, what's the demographics that I need to know about that audience that's interested in this whole lip balm situation. the quality of the products. What are the products that are available to me? Who are those suppliers? Who are those? Do I have accounts with them already because I've been selling for years? Or do I need to establish accounts? Is this going to be a white label situation where I'm going to actually white label some lip balm that's already out there in the universe, and I'm just going to slap my brand and label on it? And then other things that might be helpful about that demographic. But you need to do some research about that specific niche that you want to go after. If you don't have a niche and you're trying to just throw some stuff out there and see if it sticks, I'm going to say that's probably not the best approach. That's not the way you want to go with a Shopify store. Now, if there's like maybe something that's super trendy, maybe there was something, a gadget that was showcased, maybe in a Marvel movie, and there's only a handful of them. So you already know people love Marvel. People are going to the movies, or they're going to watch it from home because of the pandemic. So they might buy this product, and maybe you can get your hands on it and you can sell it. But again, there's already an established audience for this product because people love Marvel. So again, just throwing something out there into the universe and not really doing any research, I don't recommend that. You really should either know that there's an established audience or market for it, or that there's an interest in this. So another example would be going into a holiday, going into Christmas or Thanksgiving or whatever it happens to be. We already know that sales are going to start picking up because you're going into that holiday. So because of that, if there is a big holiday that everyone celebrates, again, you know that there's an interest in it because people are already organically celebrating it. It's already on the news, it's already on TV, it's already on radio, whatever it happens to be. So now you just need to make sure that your products are put in front of the right audience that can find it to get sales to your store. So don't be random about it. Do some deep research about niches because it is going to help you to be profitable as a Shopify seller. If you don't do that research, then you're going to just have a store and you'll be like, oh, I'm not getting any sales. And why is there no traffic? That would explain it because you didn't do the product research. So sourcing research. You've got a lot of different options for sourcing products to sell on your Shopify store. You can go after, I mentioned earlier, white label. So one that I don't have on here is the White Label Expo. White Label Expo, if you go there to whitelabelexpo.com, you can click on exhibitors. And once you click on the exhibitors tab, you're going to find all kinds of exhibitors that are selling white label products. So white label is the simple form of private label. And white label is where there's products that have already been created. You're just going to slap your logo on it and then be able to sell it. I'm simplifying that, but that is the short version of it. It's straight to the point. So these are products that have already gone through. Someone's already created them. Maybe multiple companies are using it and they're just putting their label on it. So the White Label Expo is a great place to find suppliers for products if you want to do the simple private label. If you want to drop ship. So AliExpress does have products, Alibaba, DHgate. There's many different drop shipping suppliers. This is not by any stretch of the imagination, all of them. And there are tools that will help you to do research for finding products to drop ship. And then you can go out there and you can look at the specific ratings for that particular supplier. You can go and see how many they have in stock. You can see what their prices are. You can see what the ratings are. And then, how long they potentially have been operating, whether or not they're a true manufacturer or they are really just a distributor. So you can do that research, do research on your own. And you can use tools to import your listings into your Shopify store. So Oberlo is one of them. Dropify is another one. Sprocket. These are all tools you can use. And then print on demand. So print on demand suppliers, if you decide you want to do print on demand, these suppliers or these particular suppliers will integrate nicely with Shopify. They already have an integration that's already established. So you can use them to list products on your Shopify store. So you design them, import them into your Shopify store, and then they'll just show up as part of your list of products. You have to decide where you want them to show up. And then you've got wholesale suppliers. If you're doing your own in-house fulfillment, you're not having somebody else fulfill it, then you can order inventory. And so if you're shipping the products yourself to your customers, these are some great suppliers. You can also see if you have an integration that already exists with Shopify where they will get notifications. Maybe they're using a tool like ShipStation, and ShipStation will send notifications to those suppliers if they've already got an integration established. And some of them do have integrations. And again, this is not a complete list of all of them, but this is a great way to get started once you figure out, I got a niche. Let me go see if I have products for that niche. And this is where you might start and then keep going. Don't just stop at this list. So if you're doing AliExpress research, as I mentioned before, look at the seller ratings, the product ratings, the shipping method and times. You probably also want to see how long they've been in business. You know, sometimes it'll should show you the numbers of products that they've sold. If they've only sold 50, then they're probably new. If they've sold 10,000 or 50,000 and their seller rating is good, probably a good indication they've been doing this for a while. Then the other thing is that you can use some other tools to do product research. So there's Ali Extractor, which is a tool that is paid. There's some free ones that are out there that you can look at, and you can use these tools to do research on AliExpress to find products to sell. Or you can just go to AliExpress's dropshipper dashboard, which is absolutely free, and you can do product research directly there. So there's free stuff and there's paid stuff out there to help you do product research on AliExpress. Ecom Hunt is becoming more and more popular. That's another tool. They have a free version and a paid version of that. So again, looking at what tools can I use to do product research on AliExpress. Then once you've done your product research, so we started off with, okay, you know, what kind of store am I going to have? We moved on to what are the niches? Is there an audience for this product, or whatever it happens to be, this interest? Is there an interest for this? If there is an interest, okay, let's go see if we can find products to satisfy that interest. Now we've looked at products, so we're going to begin the process of thinking about setting up our store. So what I recommend is before you set up your store, that you go out there and you look at some existing stores that already exist, some that maybe are similar to what you might be setting up, so you can be inspired. We're not trying to clone our competitors, but you know, inspiration is always good. It helps us think of a new way of doing something. So I always say, you know, go look at your competitors or someone that might be selling a similar product. Go see if you can find them. And then once you do, make notes about what you see. What is it that you see? What does everything look like? How did they lay out their page? What are the colors that they use? What's the format of where their products list, in the middle of the page, the bottom of the page? Are the products to scroll through? Are they a drop down? What does it look like? And so I have here a few, you know, just stores that you could look at if you wanted to take a look at any of these. These are Shopify stores, and you know, you can be inspired by what they have and see if any of those formats interest you. Maybe there's one thing that you want to take from one and borrow from another. Maybe you want your menu to look like this store, but you want the bottom half of your page to look like this store. It will also remind you of all the stuff that you really need to think about. Like, oh, I didn't think about, I have to set up an email address. And oh, I probably should have a physical address somewhere. And oh, I probably need an 800 number, because all of the people who already have Shopify stores, they have this stuff on their store. So it also reminds you of everything that you're about to do before you get started creating your Shopify store. So with that, again, as you start to look at these competitors and get inspired, you're going to find that you need an address. So again, this is all US-based information. International, I'm sure that there is a way, like we have anytime mailbox and virtual post mail. Like if you wanted to set up an account and have them forward the mail to wherever it needs to go physically, you could do that. I'm sure that that capability and that option exists. But in the US, we would set up a PO box, of course, and maybe go to the UPS store and set up a which is really another PO box. But when you list the address, it would be a suite that shows up on your Shopify store as far as an address is concerned. Then email. So I encourage you to buy a domain. That's what I encourage you to do. I don't encourage you to establish a domain with Shopify. Own your own domain, especially if it becomes something big, so then that way you can sell it later. And otherwise, you're tied to Shopify forever. So purchase your domain and then use the email address that's associated with that. You can definitely use some of the mail forwarding functionality that's with all domains that are available. So, you've got an info at whatever your name is.com, or, support at whatever your name is.com, or you can put your name, whatever works for you. You could create Gmail accounts. That's going to be very generic. It's not as polished. So if you have a domain, an email address that matches your domain, that's going to make you look like a more professional store. And your goal is to look as professional as possible. So in that way you can get as many sales as possible, because that increases your credibility. You want people to be able to come to your page and trust that they are getting a true store, and not be as concerned about the fact that, oh, did they just throw this up yesterday? Well, they got a Gmail account. Is my money really going to this, or am I really going to get this product or not? So again, setting up something that looks more professional increases your credibility. So go with the domain. And then phone options. So Google has Google Voice. Again, I don't know what that looks like internationally, but it works for me. Grasshopper is another one that you can set up a phone account. And then you also have Freedom Voice. That's another one if you want an 800 number. So those are all options. And there's more than just these, but these are things that you're going to see when you start looking at your competitors. Oh, they have an address on their page at the bottom of their page, or maybe it's in the bottom right, or maybe it's under a button that says contact us. Oh, they have an email address. So I know how to get in touch with them. Because again, people want to feel like that they're buying from a legitimate, credible company. There's an 800 number. So if I have questions, there's an 800 number. And that's not to say that you don't forward that 800 number off to a help desk of some sort you've hired to actually take calls for you. And then the domain, like I said, buying a domain directly from a domain seller. So Google domains, GoDaddy, Namecheap. Namecheap is my favorite because I also create ClickFunnels funnels. And so Namecheap integrates really well with ClickFunnels. So I have a lot of Namecheap accounts. And then, like I said, do keyword research, keywords everywhere. There's another tool that I use for keyword research, and the name of it escapes me right now. I apologize. I've been teaching it like crazy in the bundles class. So if it pops in my head before this is over, I'll mention that one as well. So then after you have, you've done your research and you've gotten to the place where I'm ready to buy a domain. I'm ready to go buy a domain. So when you're ready to buy a domain, I always recommend that you buy a domain that has a .com. Those are the most common in the US. If there's an extension that's more common in your country, then use that. And then make sure that it's brandable, generic, so that the brand's going to be there for a long time. So I'm going to maybe use the example of Disney. So Disney sells like a bunch of stuff that has Disney name on it. And then they sell other stuff that don't say Disney on it. Like they sell toys that have Marvel and, different things like that. So just because you're buying the domain doesn't mean that actually has to be the name of the product that you're about to sell. So sometimes people will buy, they'll buy a domain and maybe they're selling coffee. And so again, the name of their coffee brand might be, I don't know, Blue Mountain Coffee. But again, the products, each one of the products, they may have different names for the different types of Blue Mountain Coffee. So just keep that in mind, that they all don't have to say the same thing as the actual domain. They can be a variety of different names in the products themselves. You just need a name for your store. Think of a short name, not a long name. Don't make it a long name, because you want it to be something that people can remember. And if it's a long, that they got to write out a long URL, they're probably going to mess it up somewhere in the middle, which is going to create its own challenges. Avoid hyphens and numbers unless it makes sense. So there are sometimes when a number, and especially where the numbers at the beginning of the domain makes sense. There are times where it doesn't make sense. And I've seen different domains where there is a number in the domain, like 23andMe. Like that makes sense because that's the name of the product. It's 23, the name of the company, 23andMe, and they have all of these different tests that you can take under 23andMe. So they all have different names for each one of the different tests that you can take, but the website is 23andMe. So that's an example of where it makes sense. If that's the brand that you're selling, then use that. Consider a keyword in the niche so that way it's easy to remember. So I'm going to use my domain for ecom sellers. So ecom sellers, like it's pretty straightforward what we do. We're talking to e-commerce sellers. So we literally took our keyword and we just don't have the double M. Most people think it's a double M. And I'm like, nope, it's one M. But again, something that is simple and basic, and it kind of tells you what it is that you're doing. And, or maybe gives you a hint, or maybe you have an idea or concept that you're trying to bring into existence. And so as long as it makes sense and it's part of the theme, go for it. For us in the US, we do trademark. You may also have to do trademark, especially if you're planning on being able to use this brand in other places. And I always think long-term and not short-term when it comes to buying a domain. You know, what is this domain? What am I going to do with this long-term if this becomes a huge success? Am I going to sell this whole thing? So I start with the end in mind. Maybe you decide to white label some products. So we go back to the lip balm and your brand, the fact that you created an amazing logo and you have great colors and it just sells like crazy, and some major influencer starts using your lip balm and you're just, it becomes ridiculous. And then you end up with, $2 million, $4 million in sales. You're like, oh, I was not prepared for this. And then it ends up, you get approached for people to buy it and be like, well, it's a white label product. So just think about keep the end in mind whenever you're buying a domain. That's what I tell people all the time. So if you need help trying to generate a domain name, there's a couple of different tools that are out there. Shopify has its own tool under Shopify tools, a domain name generator. You can use that. And then also look at your look and feel of your store. So we talked about, the look and feel of the store of your competitors. Now let's think about the logo and what are the colors that are going to be in your store. So when you look at your competitors, if you see that a lot of the lip balm stores are like a neon green or teal and pink and yellow and bright orange, are all bright colors, you more than likely should probably not start your lip balm store with a muted color of gray. Like it's probably not going to be a good match. So you need to think about what makes sense for the store in which you're planning to open. And think about your logo and what are your logo colors going to look like. So you can create a logo kit or an entire like branding kit inside of Canva. Most people don't know that. And you also have some other tools that may help you with creating a logo. So think about that. You can also, hire someone off of Fiverr or some other website and have them create a logo for you as well if you're going for a look and feel, a specific one. The other thing is your colors. So I talked about colors before. I like to Google color psychology because it gives you a lot of great information about your colors that you might be using on your store and what those colors, the message that it sends, what people see when they see those colors, or either what they feel or what they might be thinking. So sometimes those colors can make people think certain things. It is not a coincidence that, let's see, Facebook is the blue color. And then think about all the other things that are the blue color. So LinkedIn is the blue color. It's a different version of blue, but it's still in that blue family. It's still in that hue of that blue family. Messenger is in that blue hue family. So there's a reason why. And under that color, it is the color that the message that people are getting from the color psychology is that it's trustworthy, it's dependable, it's strong. And, Dell has the same colors, HP has the same colors, Oral-B has the same colors, WordPress, Lowe's, all of them have that bluish color that you think about. And even Walmart, that bluish color. So again, there's a message that's behind the colors that you choose. So they matter. Don't try to be random about it. If you're just sampling a store and you're not really sure what you're going to do, then you can start off with something random. But as the picture becomes clearer to you, I recommend that you go in and you kind of revamp your store or maybe start a new store, whichever one works for you. So that, again, long term, you always keep the end in mind. What is it that I'm going to do with this store? What is my goal? What's my end game? What's my objective? Is this a store that I'm going to build products or sell products or create products that sometime later on in life, I'm going to sell this entire store, or I'm going to sell this brand to somebody else. So keep all that in mind and make sure that you've closed up all the loops on this whole idea and this concept of whatever it is you're going to be building in the Shopify store. Then your social media presence. So once you figure out your store name, your domain, you get all that stuff, I recommend that you create your social media accounts and that you park them. So what I mean by park them is they don't have to be alive. They don't have to be active. Just go secure them. So I have to give a name to this lip balm now. I don't know. What is the name that I can give to this lip balm? So I don't know. We'll go with Lily. So Lily's lip balm. I don't know if it exists or doesn't exist, but we'll go with Lily's lip balm. Let's say it doesn't exist. And now I'm going to go create a Facebook page that says Lily's lip balm, Instagram page, Pinterest, LinkedIn. So then that way, when people are looking for Lily's lip balm, that the Facebook automatically shows up. You don't want a page on Facebook that says Lily's dash lip balm. You want it to all be the one name, because trying to search for a dash is not that easy. And it is not natural for the spiders that crawl across all the web pages to be able to index that and be easily found. So you want something that's easily found, Lily's lip balm without the dash. Instagram, Lily's lip balm without the dash. Pinterest without the dash. LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube. Get all of them, even if you don't plan on using them. Even if you don't plan on doing anything with the YouTube channel. Just go create the account so that you have Lily's lip balm and nobody else can get it. So you don't have to create anything that says Lily's dash lip balm or Lily's _ lip balm. You have the actual name. And then if at some later point you decide you're not going to use it or whatever, that's fine. But if you decide it becomes popular, becomes successful, and you decide you want to sell it, you can sell all the social media assets as well, because social media assets are now real estate. They are real estate. So go and get them so that nobody else gets them, because again, you want to sell this whole brand together, all of it. So now we're going to go ahead and create our Shopify store. We went and we did some research on the products that we're going to sell for the niche. After we researched our niche, we found products. Once we found products, then we came up with a name for it. We said, okay, this is going to be our brand, and is our brand going to be our domain? And if it is, let's go get our domain. Let's go get our social media assets. And now it's time to create our Shopify store. So what you're going to do is go to Shopify. You're going to click on create account, and you're going to click on start free trial. It's going to enter the store name that you have come up with. And then it's going to ask you to add that name, that address, that phone number, all that stuff that I was talking about before is required when you are setting up your Shopify store. One of the first steps that you're going to do. And then it says products. Do you have products, or am I just playing around? You can put that you're just playing around initially. What I want to sell, I'm not sure. Because again, we're just trying to get the store up, and then we can come back and fine tune some things. So this is what it looks like when you're going to go create your Shopify account. Then you'll put in your information to start your free trial. This is where you're going to have that drop down for I'm just playing around. You'll enter your address information. You'll choose the plan that you want for your Shopify store. So these are US prices. I don't know what your prices are in your country, but these are US prices. And so this is how much people would pay for a Shopify store. I always recommend when you're first starting, start with the lowest, the basics. And then once you get some traction going on your store, maybe if it makes logical sense to go up to the next level, but let's just start off with the basics and definitely do the 14-day trial. So that way you don't have to pay anything for 14 days, because it may take you 14 days to get your store live. So hopefully it doesn't. Maybe you can knock it out in about 3 or 4 days. And then you want to add your information. Again, this is the navigation based off of US. And then the first thing that's going to pop up after you've done that, after you've selected your plan, paid it, put your credit card information in, then you're going to be taken immediately to a place where you can create orders. You may not be ready to create orders, so you can move on from there. We're going to get to the settings in just a second. The next thing would be to import products. So if you're already using an app, like I use Shopify to import my products that I've selected them through the Shopify app, and I'm going to import them. I'm going to connect my store to my Shopify account and import my products, or you can manually add your products just by clicking on the add product page. And then when you do click on add product, you'll be given the opportunity to give it a title, a description, add your images. And I encourage you, whenever you're doing images on any platform, name the file, name the image file, because Google allows you to do image searches. And I think this is where a lot of sellers go wrong. They don't think about that. They don't think about the fact that people can do image searches. So if they can do image searches and you're trying to get sales organically, you need to be naming your images. Like, you should be doing that all the time. I don't care what platform you're selling on, whether you're selling on Amazon, eBay, Walmart, Etsy, I don't care. You should always be naming your images when you're attaching them to anything, so that maybe people will find those products organically through an image search. So then customers, if you already had a customer database and you're going to import that, then this is where you'll do it. If you want to add customers, these are people that have bought from you, buying from you, you can do that. Analytics, this is just an informational board initially, because there's nothing here to share until you actually start getting some sales and have some traction. And then we skipped marketing and discounts for right now. We're going straight to themes. So you have to pick a theme that's going to be the theme of your store. So you can click on free themes, or you can do paid themes. I would suggest that you click on the Shopify theme store and then go through and look at the themes from there. So you'll see free themes when you click on the Shopify theme store, and you'll see all those free themes that you have the opportunity to look at. And you can choose through all themes. Just make sure you're paying attention on the cost that's associated with the theme. Once you find a theme that you like, and again, the theme is the look and feel of the store, the layout. This doesn't mean that this is what your store is going to be, but you can see where pre-orders up here, news, about, contact. You can change those headers. This is where the logo is sitting. Shop now is in the middle. So, you have the mobile. All of the Shopify stores are mobile ready, so they're ready to go. Whether or not you're going to have a scroll, you see you have a 3-point scroll on this one. So whatever you decide to choose, pick the theme that you think is going to work for you. So you're going to add that theme to your store. Once you have added it, now you can go and customize it. So you would go into it to customize it once you've added it. So the next thing is adding your domain. So this is where you have the opportunity to buy a domain through Shopify, or you attach your domain that you already bought. That's where I was saying before, don't buy a domain through Shopify, because you want to be able to take that domain with you, especially if, this product takes off like gangbusters. So then after you do that, there's a couple of things before you get into shipping that you should be thinking about. So you have shipping. You need to be thinking about whatever your shipping strategy is going to be. So are you going to be drop shipping, or are you, which means somebody else is going to actually ship the products to your customers for you? And what is your shipping pricing going to be? Are you going to include the price, estimated cost of shipping into your products so it shows up as free shipping? Are you going to offer some kind of free deal that free shipping is available on orders over $35 or $50? Are you going to do exact shipping or flat rate shipping? So you have to think about whatever your shipping strategy is going to be. And then also the fulfillment. Is it going to be a prep center? Is it going to be a fulfillment center? Is it going to be, are you going to be drop shipping? How is this going to work? Who's going to actually ship the product? And then you have a lot of options. So again, I limited mine to Canada and the US, but you'll notice when you're actually in Shopify, you have more than just these options. So I do have where it says the rest of the world there, where UPS and FedEx is an option. But when you pull it up in the country that you're in, you're probably going to see more options than I see. So you have carriers that you have to think about, and what carriers are available to me based on where I'm going to be shipping from and to. So if you're shipping from AliExpress, what are the carrier options for that particular vendor that you chose that's going to be shipping your product? Are you going to order your inventory and have it sitting in a prep center and have them ship it to your customer for you? Do you need an additional integration tool like ShipStation, which is very common for Shopify sellers to have a ShipStation account if they're doing drop shipping? So because it's an easy integration tool to be able to handle the shipping cost for you. So again, you're going to have to think about what your shipping strategy and shipping carriers are going to be. Then you have shipping rates. Again, they're going to be specific to where you are. So I mentioned before, when you get into shipping, you're going to be indicating if you're going to be shipping based off of exact shipping and what do those shipping rates look like. Free shipping, calculated shipping, local delivery. So some people, again, during the pandemic, they had their own, they created their own Shopify stores, online stores for people to buy, and then customers could come pick up. So that's still an option. And, people who were creating Shopify stores for customers, that became a great source of income for those people helping brick and mortars create online Shopify stores for their products. That helped a lot of customers online really quick. So local pickup is always still an option. And so if you decide you're going to play with a Shopify store setup, you want to help people create Shopify stores, that's a great option because it worked really well at the start of the pandemic. Then you have shipping labels and packaging. So if you're doing the shipping yourself, then you can produce shipping labels inside of your Shopify account. And you can also put in some specific things regarding packaging. If someone else is doing it, again, you're working that out with whoever's doing your shipments for you, or they may already have a process in place. And so you're just taking the order through your Shopify account, sending it through whatever software you happen to choose. They pick up the notification on their end, and then they fulfill the order from wherever your inventory is sitting. So again, if you're shipping it yourself, you're going to have to go through and pay attention to packaging and weights and all that other fun stuff. So some of the things that, picking the right products for your store and the price for your products is key. And then also understanding what you can do to save money on shipping. One of the biggest expenses for most Shopify store owners outside of the product is going to be shipping. So the product and getting good margins on the products, making sure you get products that are good quality, they have a good rating on them, getting a sample of the products before you actually start selling them, especially if it's something that may be, sort of semi-subject. So what I mean by that is maybe the rating was like 3.5, but you still want to sell it. Like, okay, well, you might want to get some samples of that product because clearly there's a reason why it's 3.5. And especially if the rating is low and that particular provider hasn't sold a boatload of products, probably not going to choose them and not going to choose their products. I'm looking for somebody that sold a boatload of products, and I'm looking for good ratings because that's going to reduce my return rate. I don't want to deal with a bunch of returns. So I try to look at that first, and then I also try to see what's going on with the price. And I reach out to some of those vendors to see if there's any wiggle room that maybe I can negotiate a little bit if I buy in higher volumes, if I've done a really good job of doing research on the niche, especially if I start off and I get a boatload of sales and then my sales just continue to go up. I might contact them and say, okay, I want to buy a larger quantity of these particular products if my store is taking off like gangbusters. So managing your shipping costs is extremely important. So you need to fully understand what your options are and what your method is going to be, or what your shipping plan or strategy is going to be. You want to do everything you can to manage your processing times. If your processing times are horrible, then you're going to have a higher chance of people requesting returns because they're like, oh, I didn't get this product. Well, I didn't think it was ever coming. Well, nobody got in contact with me to tell me the product was on its way. They're having all kinds of problems. You might explore seeing if a fulfillment center can help you streamline or automate some of your processes, and make sure you plan ahead. We know that Q4 is one of the craziest times of the year. So again, have some backup plans and strategies for some of your suppliers when it comes to that time of year. Don't just assume everything is going to continue to stay the same, because it's not. You're going to get caught up in the middle of it. So do what you can to manage your cost and get really good at starting the process of understanding shipping and where you plan on shipping to. People are buying from the US and you're shipping to the UK. There has to be a level of expectation of how long that's going to take. And so you want to make sure you're doing everything you can to set that expectation when people are in the shopping cart at that time. So where you go to set up your shipping, you're going to go to settings and you're going to set up all that shipping information I talked to you about in that shipping and delivery section. This is where you're going to put in any rates and where I mentioned before that people can do local delivery. What are the time zones? So here I have 2 zones. I have US and Canada. But again, you have more options available to you. Just click on that to add more zones. So I have the opportunity to add that. You can also indicate local pickup. If I am shipping it myself, then I can save some templates around the packaging sizes inside of Shopify. And then if I'm using any suppliers, then I also have the opportunity, again, to choose the suppliers and see, what the discounts are for shipping through those suppliers. Okay, so then we have continuing through setup. There is a lot of stuff that's in setup here. So as far as doing payments, your checkout, your taxes, your files, you're doing gift cards, notifications, store language, like all of that, plans and permissions, billing, all of that is under setup. So one of the things that we saw when we looked at some of the examples of the themes, and when you start looking at some potential competitors or be inspired by someone that has a similar store, is setting up your navigation. What's going to be in your header, what's going to be in your footer, the main menu, what are all the options they're going to see, and you'll go in here and set that up. What are some of your preferences? So your preferences for the title, social sharing, images, what do you want people to see? Google Analytics, you can actually put pixels in here. So setting that information up. Customer privacy, what are some of the requirements for where you plan on selling? And spam protection, you can enable some of that so that people can maybe feel a little bit comfortable, and you can also abide by whatever the guidelines are for where you're collecting information and selling. Payments, mentioned that whole checkout process, and taxes, where you are. So what is that tax situation for you? So you'll set up the checkout and update your checkout process, connect your payments. So Shopify has Shopify payments. People can pay other ways as well. So they can pay through PayPal if you want. You have Amazon Pay. I think they've added 2 more. I think Google Pay is in here now, and Apple Pay since the last time I took this screenshot. So there's some more options. Oh, there they are up here. Also, payments accepted. Apple Pay, Google Pay. So you'll see some more payment options on how people can pay, and then you're going to attach this information to your bank account information where you plan on establishing your accounts. You want to, in the back office of your Shopify accounts, you're going to indicate what type of business it is. You're going to put in the address. And again, different options may show up based on what country you're in. Maybe business type is going to be something that's completely different for your country than it is for the US. But this is what I see when I set my stuff up. And I put in my banking information and billing statement. So these 2 are actually the same. I need to take that image out. But these right here, so the terms, and then once I complete that setup, now I'm ready to go set up my checkout. What's the checkout experience you want your customer to have? What do you want them to see? What are the options you want to display? Do you want it to be a very simple, straightforward checkout? You want to give them options to do different things? You want to add them maybe to your email list as part of the checkout process? So again, what do you want that checkout experience to look like? So here are all of the options that you're going to see. And what I was saying was you can add them to your email list if you want to. Also, do you want to begin the process of, again, collecting their information? So if they abandon the cart, you can send them email reminders that says, hey, your product is still out here ready for you to buy it. So again, if you put a pixel on them, on your Facebook pixel and a Google pixel, then you'll have the opportunity to do some retargeting of those customers to get them potentially to come back to your page, offer them all kinds of deals, what types of options and offers. Sorry, my alarm is going off. So what they will see and what you can do with them after they've come to your store. And taxes, again, based on where you are. So I'm in the US, so taxes are different for me than it would be for you, but setting up all your taxes. And then if you want to offer discounts, maybe there's some promotions you want to do for your products. So if they buy 2 or 3, maybe you do, buy 3 and get 1 free, or buy 1, get 1 free, or whatever the offers happen to be, you have the opportunity to set up offers inside your store. So, and you could put in different coupons. You want to do a percentage off, and they could use a coupon code at checkout, or they get a fixed amount off. So this would be an example of if you spend more than $35, you get free shipping. This would be where you would set some of this stuff up. So one of the things that we talked about was emails. And so what I would recommend is that you collect your person's email address. You will notice if you go to other people's Shopify stores, if you go back to those links that I gave you or that I showed on the screen, you will see that after a certain number of seconds, a little pop-up comes up. Again, that's an app. That's a Shopify app. And it pops up so that you can put your email address in and subscribe to my newsletter. Subscribe to my newsletter so that way I can tell you about promotions that are coming up in the future. I can tell you about new products that I'm starting to sell. I can let you know about different things that are happening. Maybe we're having a Memorial Day sale or a New Year's sale or whatever it happens to be. So you want to be able to retarget your audience and keep contacting them or following up with them. So set up a newsletter process. I encourage you to do that. And definitely set up a welcome email, send announcements for new products, send an email when they abandon the cart. Always make sure you include a link to your store, and make sure you also include a link to your social media sites. So as you begin to get the store up and running, then be thinking about your graphics for your social media pages. And then you can also put promotions on your social media pages so that way, again, people can always find you, find your products, be able to get back to your products. Okay, so email marketing apps, here's some options that are available to you that integrate with Shopify. There's, different people use different things. I've heard a lot of stuff about Klaviyo. A lot of people are bothering me about Klaviyo. And then I've heard a lot of information about ActiveCampaign. So these are just options. There's so many different options that are available to you, so you can choose the one that makes sense for you and your business. And then Facebook ads and Instagram ads when you're thinking
I'm
about.
going to take a shower.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So that was my son. So Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So these are some of the things you want to think about when you're actually running ads. Or if you put a Facebook pixel, then you can retarget them when they go to Facebook. If you put a Google Pixel, then you can retarget them wherever they're going all over the internet. But, identify your audience, which we talked about before. Create a business page, which we talked about that before. Sell your products. You can sell them directly on Facebook. Facebook shops and Instagram shops are available. And again, you can prompt them from your Facebook shops and Instagram shops, send them directly to your Shopify store, or you can actually do a checkout on Facebook itself. We just recently did a training on that and showing people how to do that. You can create lots of visual posts. Make sure your images are amazing, that they take up the majority of the real estate, that they have lots of color. You don't want to create a picture or have a picture where the product is in the middle of the picture and there's all this white space around it. It's like, no. If I have to use the pinchy fingers on my phone, on my mobile device to see it, then I'm not interested in that. That's extra work for me. That's going to deter people from buying your product. You don't want someone to have what's called a pattern interrupt in their brain when they are looking at a product they were actually interested in, and they click on it and it's so tiny, they got to do the pinchy fingers, like, this is too much work. And then they've moved on. So make sure that your images for all of your products are full and big. I try to always make sure I get the products themselves. You can get the images from whoever the supplier is, but have some images of your own. Take your own, use a ring light, get a, photo box, whatever it happens to be. And then make sure that you can even use a graphic artist like Graphic Rhythm Designs. They'll take your images and turn them into something amazing with lots of color and make it pop, so that way you can have some great social media posts about your product and drive more traffic to your listing. So announce and promote your products, engage your customers, run Facebook ads. Make sure you add a pixel. Even if you're not going to run Facebook ads, add a pixel. So then that way, if you do want to retarget them as part of a holiday promotion, that you can. And then tips for Bing ads and Google ads. So again, develop a campaign first. So you need to have a pixel. So Google has the most traffic. That is true for the US. I don't know if there's what the search engines are outside of the US that are really, really popular. I guess I should probably learn that. So build out your keywords. Again, your keywords should be in your listings somewhere. You should be using those long tail keywords that people are searching for that particular product or looking for that product or that product description. And then make sure that your keywords are targeted to pick up existing traffic. So again, long tail keywords in a specific way. I always try to target, if I'm running Google ads and Bing ads, I'm also targeting words where they might type it wrong. So if you type, I use the thesaurus to look up related words sometimes if I'm looking for phrases, but I also look for ways in which they might be spelling it wrong. So I just did a training on bundles where we were talking about PJ Masks. And PJ Mask is a kid's cartoon that's really popular. And it's got the cat boy, the lizard, and the owl girl, or whatever the names are, the gecko and the whatever owlet. And people spell PJ Masks so many different ways. So it's PJ and then MASKS is what it is. So you could find it PJ space MAX. You can find it PJ MASK. You find it all kinds of ways that it's spelled wrong. So whenever I'm running ads on the back end, I'll put that as one of the search terms so that way I can get all the wrong ways in which people are looking for things. You can target by a specific location. So if you're only wanting to target in the US, or maybe you're just targeting English speaking countries, you can target that as well. Same thing with your Facebook ads as well. And then, your keywords, make sure that your keywords, you have at least 2 to 25 keywords per ad group that you're using. Just do a really good job of doing your keyword research. Okay, so to wrap up, I know I covered a lot of stuff. This is not everything. Trust me, it is not everything that's related to Shopify, but we do offer a Shopify program. It's a 90-day intensive 12-week course. And you could finish it in under 12 weeks. You really can. You can finish it probably in a week if you wanted to. But it's already pre-recorded. So it's available under Ecom Sellers Mastery. You just go there, click on Shopify, and buy the course. It's very affordable. It's going to be re-recorded. We're going to do it again probably in the fall, and along with the Amazon course. If you want a free 20-minute session, you can schedule a session with me, and we can talk about whatever you want to talk about. If you have questions about Shopify in general, if I need to do some international research, I will. We do have the Ecom Seller Summit coming up. We already had it. It's coming up next year, 2022. So those dates are wrong, but the Ecom Q4 Summit is coming up, and these are the right dates, which is August the 2nd through August the 5th. It's online, 100% online. And then if you're looking for ongoing support, we offer it at Ecom Sellers Academy. It's $17.99 a month in US dollars. We have a flat fee if you want to just pay the lifetime. And we also offer a free Facebook group. So if you want support, we offer it. You can definitely come hang out with us. And that is everything. So Ms. Magala, I hope you guys heard me.
We did. That was absolutely incredible, Nicole. I was like, wow, taking notes over here, and there's such a lot of information. What do you think, Markev?
There's so much information. You know it backwards, Nicole.
I do. There's a lot of stuff to it. I've been doing support for so long, but yes, there's a lot to it. But once you get a Shopify store up and running, like I've been working with my son, he has Asperger's, and he's been working on his store for about maybe 2 weeks. It doesn't normally take you that long, but again, he just got out of school, so school just finished here in the U.S. for him. He's in high school, and the fact that he's gotten as far as his checkout process is done, he's ordered his samples, like he's almost ready to go live, and like, okay, if he can do it and he has a disability, everybody can open a store. Everybody can open a store. It may take patience, it may take time, but you can do it.
Yeah. And it seems like there are a lot of steps, but it's, if you just take it one step at a time, it's pretty easy to do. So Sarah says, fantastic info, thank you. Gayatri says, amazing presentation, abundance of information to grasp. I hope we will be able to watch it in the future. Yes, Gayatri, this is being recorded, so you can come back to the same post and watch it there. Okay, this is very thorough, also overwhelming, but it's kind of, it's a good kind of overwhelming. I didn't realize it took so much to create a successful Shopify store. Alan says, if setting up a shop in Singapore, I recommend HitPay as they have Pay Now integration. That's what I use for my local shop. Okay, let's see if there are any questions. So guys, if you have any questions for Nicole, type them in the comments now. Okay, here's one question for you. What are the themes you would recommend for a small catalog of 5 to 10 products?
I would actually do the free themes. That's what I would do. I don't think you need anything complex. I've seen a lot of stores where they only have 2 or 3 products and they have the free themes. So the free themes are easy and they're pretty straightforward. You don't need a lot of navigation options available to you. If you're going to be doing something where you've got drop shipping and print on demand, then you need more options available to you. But if you only have a handful of products, just use one of the free themes.
Okay, so Deborah says, thanks, Nicole, for the great presentation and all the great hints. Did not know about all these tools and research sites. How reliant are you on influencers? Which ones do you get the most bang for your buck from? Good idea to park social media accounts.
Yeah, so influencers, we started using influencers last year and we're really ratcheting it up this year. So since my son is 15, we're using some of the influencers on TikTok. We're starting to for the products he's going to be selling. And we're using some of the influencers on Instagram for some of the products that he's going to be selling. And we are going after micro influencers. What I found is that if you go after micro influencers instead of big major influencers or mid-sized influencers or micro influencers, people who have a following of less than 5,000, then, they're building an audience. They're working to build an audience. And so if people are interested in them, they're going to go back and look some of the stuff that they did before. And you can get micro influencers to do a lot of stuff for you, almost free or dirt cheap, versus a mid-sized influencer or somebody that's a major influencer. You're going to pay a lot of money. So, I could go after, 50 micro influencers to get more traction on my products, whatever I'm trying to sell, and still almost get the same result that I would if I went after 1 or 2 major influencers. And so when we're talking micro influencers, we're talking the ones that, again, we're looking at Instagram, we're looking at YouTube, we're looking at TikTok. So we're going after micro influencers that are in the process of building their audiences.
Right. Okay, Trish is asking, can my Shopify store be FBA?
There is an integration with Amazon and Shopify. There's also an integration with Walmart and Shopify, and you can use Ecom Dash to integrate your store with Amazon, and you can also integrate it with Walmart. So those 2 are available. It is an integration app, so Shopify uses a lot of apps.
So this is interesting. So you can actually get Amazon to fulfill your Shopify sales, right?
If that's
Your
what
orders.
if that's what you're doing on the back end, yes. So people can place the orders and then you can fulfill it on the back end you can do, your inventory fulfillment through your own inventory if you've got it in FBA. Unless you want them to completely check out 100% on Amazon. So you could drive traffic to your Shopify store and then send them on to Amazon. But what a lot of people are doing is, I won't say what a lot of people are doing. Different people are doing different things. The great thing about Ecom Dash and also some of the integration apps is that some people are setting up their Shopify store so they can import their listings from Amazon, because sometimes Amazon is not our friend. Let's just be honest about it. So they're importing their listings from Amazon using Shopify and pushing them to Walmart. And you can do that. So that makes it easy for you to get all your listings that are currently on Amazon over to Walmart and not have to create those listings again manually on Walmart. So you can use Shopify as your pass-through. Now, this will not work if we're doing FBA, because Walmart does not want you fulfilling inventory with a box that says Amazon on the outside of it. But if you're doing merchant fulfillment anyway, then again, if you have 100 listings, 200, 1,000 over on Amazon, you can use your Shopify, create a Shopify account, do a pass through and send your listings over to Walmart and have all your listings up on Walmart and fulfill your inventory from there. You can even send your inventory over to Deliver and have Deliver actually fulfill the inventory. You don't even touch it.
Great. So let's see if there are any more questions. Awesome, Nicole. Fantastic presentation. Thank you, Nicole. Very timely as I'm building a Shopify store for my crowdfunding. I think this is Payman. Payman, you should definitely get in touch with Nicole. Brilliant presentation. Yay, love my girl, Nicole. I don't know who this is, but one of your fans. Thanks so much. Is Shopify better than the other e-commerce sites like Wix, Foursquare, etc.? Yeah, and some people also use WooCommerce plus WordPress, right? So how does Shopify compare to all of the other options out there?
I just say that Shopify, you get more support and you have more tools available to you. They have a lot more integration. Shopify is on a mission to put a dent in the Amazon space. So they're building integrations with everybody, as many as they can get, to try and attract more people to create Shopify stores. They're trying to make it as easy and as seamless as possible. So, if you're looking for integrations, if you're looking for something that's streamlined, you don't have as many of the features and also the support that you do with the other platforms as you do with Shopify. Wix is pretty, Weebly is pretty. They're all pretty, but you may have limitations on what you can do. And you're going to have some limitations with Shopify, but I would tell you there's a lot of people out here who are using Shopify. And so you can probably get answers on how you can do whatever it is you're trying to do versus, having to hire somebody to learn how to do, Java and HTML on the back end. And you're like, oh, this is still doing something weird.
Yeah, Shopify seems to be very plug and play.
Very much so.
Well, it certainly gives everybody options now. Most of our crowd have always looked at Amazon as being, the feeder. But a lot of people, like you said, Nicole, Amazon sometimes is not our friend always. And a lot of people, I have been looking at different options for a long, long time. But because, we're in Australia, right? In the US, I guess you made it sound so easy living in the US and dealing with Shopify from the US. But like we, sort of Megla and myself and Marg, we sort of live offshore from the US. How do you think, sort of like, say, Megla in Singapore with Shopify would go, for instance?
I feel like Megla is extremely resourceful, so I think she would be fine. But this is what I would love to do, because I am teaching Shopify again in the fall. And I would love to get someone in another country just walk through, like, them be my prototype of, because I personally have not done it. I know other people who have Shopify stores that are in other countries and they're doing just fine. I personally have not done it. So I want to be able to speak to, here's the things that I learned on that international Shopify journey. So, if you want to throw your hat in the ring, somebody, I'll hit you up in August or September and we'll walk through and create a store for you, and you'll be
Nicole, maybe we can do a great big workshop and make an event of it.
Well, then maybe that's what we'll do. We'll do an actual Shopify workshop for international, and let's just see what we don't know what the walls are that we're going to run into, but we'll find them all and we'll work it out, and then we'll document them so we know what the solution is for all of them.
Sounds great.
And maybe Alan from Singapore could be your partner for that, because he has set up a Shopify store here in Singapore. Of course, it's different for each country, but at least you get one perspective. So, and here's a comment from Alan, Kevin, for you. Kevin, hearing 4 will be a thing of the past. Now you have a new job.
I certainly hope that, Alan.
Thomasum is quite good a platform for influencers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So someone is saying it is a lot easier than Amazon, in my opinion. Shopify is easier than Amazon.
It is. I agree that I think it is. Once you've got it set up and you got everything going, then it is easier. It's just a matter of finding products and putting them up, finding products, putting them up, finding products and putting it up. That's really all it is. Once you get the setup done, that's what you're doing.
Right. Okay.
Nicole, just a
I
quick question.
also, a lot of people, that, they sort of somehow don't have the patience. I mean, Amazon is all about patience. I mean, setting up a Shopify store, it's all about patience. Some people just are not born with patience to sort of do things like this. And, that's why I said about, doing a workshop. I think, didn't we do a Shopify store way back, Margaret? And we had a problem with going from...
No.
No, it wasn't.
No.
It wasn't you then, it was my previous life.
Yeah, it must have been somebody else. It wasn't me.
Yeah, right.
Nicole, just a question. If you've got like an FBA running now, is it cheaper to use that, obviously, because the postage, you're using the cheaper Amazon rates for postage around the US? I mean, being in Australia, I have no idea what it costs to post parcels in the US, but I know here our postage is a lot dearer than using the Amazon postage in Australia. So would that save you money, or is there other better options with that, with the postage?
So if you're doing FBA, you're going to get really good rates with Amazon. I'm not even going to tell you.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't. So if you're doing FBA, you're gonna. That's the default. Like, you're using Amazon. There's nothing to it. If you're doing FBM, then Amazon's still going to give you really good rates. You might be able to, depending on what the sizes of the packages, you might be able to do something smaller and get some different rate by going through pirate ship or something like that, and then just posting here's the shipping information inside of your Amazon account if you're doing FBM. Someone did a post about just a second ago about Amazon discouraging people about taking them off. Amazon does not want you to take you off the platform, and at all. They do not like you taking their customers off the platform. But I don't know if any of you have noticed that they've actually started to allow sellers the opportunity to interact more with their customers. And that is because they're getting a lot of competition from Shopify, because when your customers are buying through Shopify, you have their contact information. You can email them, you can market to them, you can follow up, you can give them promotions, you can do whatever you want to. And so the fact that Amazon is now allowing you, they don't allow you to do a lot, but they are like, oh, we're just introducing this, or we're expanding it to more people to be able to to follow up with the customer. Like, okay, well, you should have been doing that all along. So, and the other thing is that you can do that easily on Walmart. Like Walmart, you can contact your customers directly as well. Amazon's the only one that's blocking you. So Amazon's blocking everybody from having any direct relationship because they don't like you to take them off the platform. So whatever you decide to do, if you're going to do anything with a Shopify store, your chances of doing anything with FBM is going to be greater than if you try to do any integrations with FBA. So the answer to her question is yes, it's true. You don't want to list your thing for a different price. Amazon does not like that. They find out about it, they'll try to shut down your account. They don't want you, most of the time interacting with your customers. They just now got to a place where they're like, oh, okay, we'll allow you just a little bit of wiggle room to interact. Some of you, not all of you, just some of you, to interact with your customers. So even though Shopify, we know Amazon is king and Amazon knows that it's king, but there's, Walmart's coming after them and Shopify's coming after them. So at some point, if you are selling on multiple platforms, and I'm a multiple platform chick, then you're going to have a greater chance of, trying to get more sales, more traction, because if Amazon's they got to do better and be kinder to their sellers. You have a lot more freedom on some of these other platforms. And if you get really good at driving traffic, then, worrying about your listing being on Amazon or somebody else selling a similar product on Amazon is irrelevant if you get really good at driving traffic.
So this is Payman. He's saying, I can volunteer for that here in Canada and later on worldwide. Yes, you guys should definitely talk.
Well, I'm already doing Canada. I'm already selling into Canada with my Shopify store. So I know it already works there. But sure. I know it works there.
Great international workshop.
Yeah, so I may do that. I may hit you guys back up and let's talk about that, because again, I don't have as much experience outside of US and Canada when it comes to Shopify.
Right. Let's just ask all the people watching over here. So, guys, do you think a Shopify workshop would be something you'd be interested in? Type yes in the comments if you think you'd be interested in an in-depth, step-by-step Shopify workshop. We could probably do it over the course of a couple of days, like maybe a week apart, and give people homework. We do a lot of our other workshops that way. We've got one on PPC, listing optimization. So we could probably add a Shopify one. Yeah.
Well, my intensive is 8 sessions over 12 weeks, and each one of the sessions are at least 2 hours long, maybe longer. So just letting everybody know, it's not as short. It's going to be probably 8 sessions over at least a period of time.
Wow. We're getting a lot of yeses, Nicole. We got to start talking about this.
Okay. All right. And then
need more vitamins first.
It's a long session, so just know it's long. It's not short, and but it is worth it. You'll have a lot of stuff set up by the time we're done.
Okay. Do you recommend Deliver?
Or ShipBob? Oh, for Shopify. So if you're doing the pass through, the answer is yes. My friend, my business partner Renata is using Deliver right now. And she's using it for her Walmart store, but what she did is she was doing FBM. So she had her Amazon listings. She transferred all her Amazon listings to Shopify and then passed them on to Walmart using the integration that's out there. And she's using Deliver to fulfill her orders. So she likes Deliver.
What do you think of using Shopify to target non-English speaking countries?
I haven't tried that. That's what I'm saying. So I wouldn't be able to speak to it, but we can do a trial of whatever.
What's your take on Google announcement on partnering with Shopify?
Google and Shopify have been doing a lot of stuff together for a while. They actually announced something before this latest announcement. They announced something last June. It was that Google Shopping was partnering with Shopify, and that was last June. And then they were allowing people to create listings on Google Shopping for free for a period of time to get your Google Shopping going. So Google Shopping and Shopify go naturally together. I've taught the Google Shopping training, and the more that Google is integrating with Shopify, like you're just going to be able to target people even better. They're making it easier for you to make money. That's really what they're doing. They're making it easier for you to find your audience, your target audience, your niche audience, and then to make more money.
Right. Pam says, I'm excited. Okay, so this is payment. I'll take the challenge on to sell in non-English speaking countries since I speak a few languages. Fantastic.
There you go.
Awesome. So, how can we book the free session with Nicole? What was the link, Nicole?
It is ecom. So I don't know if I'm from heart. So hold on just a second. It is.
Why don't you paste it in the private chat and then I'll display it on the screen, and then I'll also put it in the description of the post.
There you go.
You have a crystal ball for knowing it's me while it shows my name as Facebook user. Yes, I know it's you. Okay. It's a long one. Let me see. But I'm gonna put this on the description as well, in the Facebook post description. Let me see if I can do that now real quick while we are here. Okay. There we go. There it is. It's in the group now, so you can get it from there. Okay, awesome.
I will send you the slides so that way you have them and you can allow them to just, if they want to go through the slides again. And, if we're going to do the international intensive, so I don't know how much the current Shopify class is. So we can talk about that because, we could do something that's not ridiculous so that way it's easy for people to participate, because we want to see. I can't speak to it. I know that people are already doing it. I just have not done anything with anyone international The furthest international I've gone is Mexico and Canada. That's it.
But I
That's
think
it.
in terms of selling, I mean, a lot of people want to sell into the US market, right? Even if they're
Yeah.
based in Singapore or whatever. So, yeah, I think that makes it. And most of our audiences, in fact, even though they're based in Australia, Singapore, in terms of Amazon, they are selling in Amazon US. So, yeah, I mean, that's something to consider. Of course, their account setup and all of those things might be different because their business is located outside of the US. But yeah, in terms of
And
selling,
that
I
makes
think.
I was going to say there might be an opportunity to use an IP in the US so they see the US settings, and that may make it easier. Again, I'll have to do some research because there may be some strategies that we can use. So you do see the US options, you do see the Canada. And then if you want to set up a second Shopify store that's specific to Australia or Singapore or wherever, then you can see that as you can see it based off of your current IP and not an alternate IP. So I'm sure there's some ways to manage that.
Right. Okay, one last question before we let you go, Nicole. I know it's getting late for you. Can you talk about number? How much are people making? So in terms of revenues and profits.
Yeah, I can't talk about numbers because it varies because I don't know. Everybody's store is going to be different. And what people are selling on their store is going to be different. How many products that they're selling, which audience they're targeting, everything's going to be different. So no, I can't talk about numbers. You see on YouTube and YouTube, there's a lot of fake millionaires on YouTube and there's some real ones. But you see, different people claiming different numbers. Can you find products if you do a really good job of niching down and get a lot of great sales? Yeah, but that's not the norm. And so what happens is people have to put in work. They have to build the audience, and then those people, of course, are then going to be selling you some course on YouTube. And you want to make sure that what you're doing is going to be sustainable for you and what you're doing in your e-commerce business. If you're just going to go after the shiny objects and people that are selling trash and getting a bunch of returns, but they want to tell you they made $10 million, that's fine. That's your call. I'm not trying to do that. I got a roof to keep over my kids' head and food to keep on the table. So I need something that's sustainable that I'm not going to have a boatload of returns. So I'm going to do it the right way. And I'm going to vet products. I'm going to do research. I'm going to look for niches where it's sustainable and I can make some decent money to keep the lights on, keep water coming out of my faucet and keep the roof over my head. So I can't tell you what the numbers are going to be because it's different for every single business model.
Yeah, well said, Nicole. I mean, it goes for, even with an Amazon business. I mean, hey, if you got to do your product research, and if you don't get your product research right, I mean, hey, and if you don't know how to do product research, well, it's a skill you've got to
Develop.
Develop, exactly. Yeah, for sure.
You got to develop it.
Mm.
And you've also got to look at all your numbers, right? I mean, Mark, you talk about this a lot. So yeah, if you don't have your numbers down, like you need to be profitable. There's one thing that I just thought about, and a lot of our community, of course, are sourcing from India. So Mark, Kevin, do you remember Coco Tuft, the company that does coir doormats? So they offer drop shipping. And they offer, in fact, customized doormats for drop shipping. So a Shopify website integrated with their solution would actually be perfect. And that's something that people in our community could consider if they want to do, products made in India. And in fact, this company, Coco Tuft, has everything really set up already, so they can ship anywhere in the world within, I think it's like 2 days or 3 days. And they have a fixed price for anywhere in the world. They've got a partnership with DHL. So that's something that you guys could consider with Shopify. And that would work really, really well with a Shopify store.
Yeah, I mean, that would be great just to test setting up a Shopify store. You could test with that because of the fact that, you're sourcing out of India. And I don't know where our target audience is going to be. Maybe where our target audience is Australia. And let's just see what that looks like and what's involved and how that is sets up as far as Shopify settings are.
Right. Okay, as Australian with a US Shopify account, the only limitation is around payment providers. Can't use them all. Had to use PayPal for my checkout. Okay. Yeah. So in terms of account setup, there might be some limitations.
Correct.
Great. Well, Nicole, thank you so much. It was amazing, awesome, fantastic. We had so much fun. We learned so much, and our audiences also learned so much. So thank you so much for your time today.
Oh, you're welcome. It was nice to meet you all.
Yeah.
And I'll wait to hear back from Ms. Megala.
Absolutely. We have to be in touch.
We'll see you
Thanks,
soon.
Nicole.
Okay,
Bye.
thanks a lot, everyone. We'll see you next week on another Webinar Wednesday. Take care. Bye-bye.